There once was a boy who could never marry. Maybe this sounds like the start of a joke, but it's actually a horror story. The boy's name was Ashik. He was handsome, kind, and well-educated, but for some reason, every girl he wanted to marry ended up leaving him. It started when he was only 18 years old. He fell head over heels in love with a girl from his village. But just 1 month after their engagement, she suddenly got sick. First it was a slight fever, but soon she was bedridden and delirious. Her skin turned yellow and she looked at him with eyes full of fear. Then she stopped eating, then she stopped speaking, and finally she stopped breathing. And all because she was engaged to a sheik. This was the first time something like this had happened. So everyone assumed it was just a terrible coincidence. But 2 years later, it happened again. This time to a girl from a neighboring village. Everything was going well with her. They got engaged and everyone started making plans for the wedding. But one day while shopping in the market, she had an accident. She slipped and fell right in front of Ashik, who rushed to help her. At first it seemed like a minor injury, just a broken arm and some cuts and bruises. But the next day she developed a high fever and went into a coma. Soon she died too. Everyone started whispering that Ashik had done something wrong. Some said he had offended one of his girlfriends in the past, and now she was taking revenge by haunting him. Others said he had been cursed, but nobody knew for sure. Even his parents couldn't understand what was happening. After all, their son was a good boy. He didn't drink, he didn't smoke, and he prayed 5 times a day. What made them think he was cursed? When they asked him about it, he would simply shrug and say, "I don't know what I did to deserve this." Of course, he was desperate. He had always dreamed of getting married and starting a family. But every time he got engaged, something terrible happened. It was like a dark cloud was following him around. Devastated and confused, a sheik decided to visit a spiritual leader. "I have already lost 2 fiancés," he told the man. "What should I do?" "You need to perform a special prayer," said the leader. "Do it every night for 40 days and your bad luck will turn to good fortune." So Ashik prayed and prayed, but nothing changed. Meanwhile, his father found another girl for him to marry, a girl from a faraway city. Again, everything seemed fine at first, but then she too became seriously ill and died. And after that, Ashik swore never to marry again. He devoted his life to helping others, hoping that one day he would find peace, but maybe fate had other plans for him. One day he was walking through the market when he heard people talking excitedly. "Have you seen her? She's so beautiful," they said. And indeed, when Ashik turned toward the sound, he saw the most beautiful woman he had ever seen in his entire life. Her skin was white as snow, her eyes were shining like stars, and her long flowing hair was the color of midnight. He couldn't take his eyes off her and suddenly realized he had to talk to her. But as he approached, he noticed that although the woman was surrounded by dozens of people, none of them dared to come closer. All of them seemed to be afraid of her. Curious, a sheik asked one of the merchants what was going on. "She's dangerous," the man whispered. "If you go near her, you'll die." Of course, Ashik didn't believe him. In fact, he felt like he had to talk to her. So he walked up to her and introduced himself. "I'm a sheik," he said. "Are you here alone?" "I'm Lamia," she replied. "Yes, I'm alone." And as she looked at him, Ashik felt something strange. It was as if her gaze could see right through him, but he didn't realize that yet. He invited her to go somewhere together and she accepted. He showed her the most beautiful places in the city and they talked for hours. It felt like they had known each other forever. And at some point, Ashik even forgot about his bad luck. In fact, by the end of the day, he had already fallen in love with her and asked her to marry him. And to his great surprise, she agreed. "I want to marry you." "But how can we get married so quickly? My father is a religious leader," she replied. "We can easily arrange a wedding ceremony tomorrow." And so the next day, the wedding took place. All of Ashik's relatives came to celebrate, and the city's religious leader officiated the ceremony. Nobody could understand why such an ordinary guy like Ashik had managed to win the heart of the most beautiful woman in the world. But they didn't ask questions. They were just happy for him. At night, after everyone had gone home, Ashik and Lamia were alone in their room. Suddenly, she turned to him and whispered, "You were chosen, but you're not lucky." Before he could ask her what she meant, she turned away from him and went to sleep. He couldn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard her voice repeating, "You were chosen, but you're not lucky." What did she mean? Why did she marry him if he was unlucky? Full of questions, he got up and went to the bathroom to look at his reflection in the mirror. But when he turned on the light, his breath caught in his throat. In the mirror stood not Lamia, but a creature from his nightmares. She had sharp claws and teeth, and her eyes were burning red hot. Like a cat in the darkness, she had been watching him for a long time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And now that he had become her husband, she would enjoy his fear and despair. To be honest, there are much worse curses than death. This is how Ashik learned that his bad luck wasn't because of a curse, but because of her. She was the bad luck. And now he was trapped with her in one room, doomed to suffer for eternity. This terrifying tale shows us that sometimes our worst fears come true, and those we love become our greatest tormentors. But it also reminds us to keep calm and think before we leap, because not every beautiful woman is as innocent as she seems, and not every stranger has a kind heart. What would you do if you found yourself in Ashik's place? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. Until next time.